What if I told you the man who made this also wrote this, directed that, and made this? Okay, that last one is my own creation. I just wanted to see if I could pass it off as something made by a professional. Although you may not know the man, you are definitely familiar with his work. He was behind some of the best episodes of some of the best shows. You've had songs from his shows stuck in your head even when it was against your will, and his humor and creativity shaped a generation. Today we're going to be talking about this hidden, secret, elusive man, how he was behind some of the most iconic episodes and shows of the 90s and 2000s, his surprisingly expansive legacy, and why I and so many other people respect him so much as an artist. The man is Dan Povenmire. I don't know why I'm still trying to hide it. Intro's over. I'm not going to do a whole biography because that's not the point here, but I do want to go a little bit into his background before we get started. Dan Povenmire was a child prodigy. By age 10, he had 2 successful pilots under his belt and earned himself his own TV show. That was a lie, but he really was a child prodigy. He had his art displayed at local art shows at the age of 10. I can actually relate to this because by the age of 10, I had written numerous comics with several different original characters. Now, did they go anywhere near an art show? No. They stayed in my Lightning McQueen notebook. Fast forward to age 24, my guy was working on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, among other shows. Okay, this part I relate to just a little bit less. Working on a decade-defining cartoon is not on my resume. I work a regular-ass job, and I do whatever the hell this is. And I also make clothes. Check out the Chon store. I'm going to speed through this section, so please forgive me, Mr. Povenmire. Don't send a ninja from the Sengoku era to my house to assassinate me. Povenmire went on to work for The Simpsons and Rocko's Modern Life, and as you could tell by my lack of a side part and distaste for the word floofer, I am not a millennial. I was not around to watch these shows in the 90s. What I was around for was Family Guy, which Dan Povenmire actually worked on when the show was still good. He had truly proved himself by this point and was given the creative freedom to do basically anything he wanted with Family Guy. He was given the key to the city, the key to Quahog. But then Family Guy was canceled. Povenmire had to find another job, so he ended up just writing for just the biggest kids cartoon in history. And I'm not talking about writing some random ass episode like SpongeBob's Vasectomy. I'm talking about Graveyard Shift, the Bullworm episode. This man wrote the Campfire song. I don't think anyone has ever said that so aggressively. I truly wonder what would have happened if Dan Povenmire stayed on the SpongeBob team. I wonder if the show would have stayed good after the movie. Unfortunately, we will never know since Family Guy came back like it always fucking does, so he returned to that. Now, in modern times, going from SpongeBob to Family Guy looks like going from a bowl of shit pasta to a plate of poop pancakes, but back then, both shows were more like 2 delectable pan pizzas from Pizza Hut. All while this was happening, Mr. Povenmire was working on and pitching around his own show alongside friend Jeff Swampy Marsh. It took 14 years for the show to get picked up. Must have been pretty bad, right? Have you not gotten the hang of these psych-outs yet? No. It became the network's biggest animated show. The first episode of this show had more viewers than the Hannah Montana Jonas Brothers crossover episode. This is insane. It beat every single Disney Channel crossover episode because it was the most viewed thing on Disney Channel. I don't need to name the show. I don't even need to show you the characters. I'm going to show you objects, and you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. What'd you guys think of that intro? Pretty unbearable.
Man, that shit sucked.
Fair. To put it briefly, Phineas and Ferb was the face of the 2000s. Along with SpongeBob and the hundreds of singer-songwriters that were around at the time. What happened to these guys? No one is singing about a woman being a rainbow or a tall glass of water anymore. Phineas and Ferb ran for 7 years. It had toys, games, movies, magnets. You know you made it when you've got magnets. Can you imagine being the guy from Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon that turned this show down? Being like, nah, bro, your show's going nowhere. And then it goes everywhere. Like literally everywhere. You're shopping for your kids. Oh, there's the show that I turned down. Just hundreds of millions of dollars down the drain. Getting snacks. They got shaped pretzels of the little fuckers. Sitting down after a long day of work and trying to relax watching your favorite reality show. He's not even real. How did they get him on there? So obviously Phineas and Ferb was huge, but what sticks out to me is Dan Povenmire's legacy as a whole. I want to stay on Phineas and Ferb just a second longer and also credit Jeff Marsh and the rest of the team. You guys are obviously super talented and great at what you do. Who the fuck am I doing this for? None of them are going to see this. They're not going to be all like, oh, that 20-something-year-old jackass didn't credit me in his stupid video. Regardless of them saying that really mean comment, I still want to shout them out and say, you guys are cool. Thank you. Phineas and Ferb is so unique, funny, and entertaining. Each episode bleeds creativity. They had multiple weird-ass inventions, intertwining storylines, and each episode had its own song. It really went above and beyond for a kids show. What defined the show more than anything else for me was the comedy. All the characters were witty in just the right way. There's none of this Marvel quipping bullshit. My man Buford understood comedic timing. More so, the show was meta and surreal, and the running gags solidified how it respected its audience. This comedy style, I hate to be the guy that uses the word comedy style, but stay with me now. This comedy style is more reminiscent of an adult show than a kid's cartoon. And the whole respecting the audience thing is what makes the show still so funny. It knows you have the brain power to think about a joke or remember a gag from a few minutes ago or even a completely different episode. I watched the out of the show as a kid, and I remember really appreciating the actual jokes and the weird gags. I think we underestimate how much kids actually like good content. If you have a kid out there, don't put them in front of this weird Cocomelon AI YouTube slop bullshit. Throw on The Godfather for them. It's really going to work their brain. People still think fondly of these jokes. They're weirdly unique. They're still prevalent in the world of memes, and I hear the most random people quote Phineas and Ferb. It's not just the fanatics that wear purple pants up to their nipples. Now, Phineas and Ferb alone isn't the sole reason why Dan Povenmire is a fucking legend. I want to go back and talk about some of the other shows he worked on. It cannot be understated how impressive it is that Dan Povenmire wrote The Graveyard Shift, probably the most iconic episode of Spongebob. He also wrote the Bullworm episode and worked on plenty of other ones. These are S-tier SpongeBob episodes. This is quintessential SpongeBob. Now that's what I call SpongeBob. I mean, let me ask my guy what he thinks about it. Now, obviously, he worked on the episode with other writers and crew members, but it really is incredible how deeply he understood the show, having only worked on a few episodes. He just popped in, wrote some fucking heat, and then dipped. On top of all that, he also directed like 20 episodes of Hey Arnold. Now, I'm not sure what a director does for a cartoon. I assume you just draw them doing the actions you want them to do. There's no like clapboard thing to let them know to start acting, but still quite an achievement. Hey Arnold is freaking dope. I had this thing in my car for years, and he kind of just melted into the "and are you okay" pose permanently, and I can't fix him, so stay. I heard that, bitch. This is what separates Dan Povenmire from other people, in my opinion. The man has worked on so many incredible shows in pretty impressive roles. Maybe that's just the standard in the animation industry. I don't know. If you're in the industry, please let me know. And also hit me up. I'm extremely interested. I want to work on the modern equivalent of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have a resume to beat, and I only have so many months left of being 24. He also worked on Catdog, among so many other things. He directed a frickin' They Might Be Giants music video. This man has been everywhere. I can spend the next 20 minutes talking about his IMDb page, but I think it's best that we move on. Again, I'm so sorry, Mr. Povenmire. I beg you, please do not send those ninja assassins to my house. So why'd I make a whole ass video about some dude? Well, I'm actually his manager and we're looking to get him work. Psych! I just think he's cool. No, actually, I've always just loved Phineas and Ferb, and a few years ago, I started noticing Dan Povenmire's name in like everything I like, so this has been cooking in my mind for a while. Dan Povenmire is a true creative. He is dedicated to the world of animation and comedy. I think those things are cool, so yeah, I made this video as a thank you that he will probably never see. So Thanks. But for real, Dan Povenmire has been in the industry longer than I've been on this planet. When I was pooping my diapers, Dan Povenmire was working on Family Guy. When I was getting bullied for bringing my 3DS to school, Dan Povenmire was working on Phineas and Ferb. When I was struggling my way through college, Dan Povenmire was there working on Milo Murphy's Law. He was really there. He was laughing at me. And now while I'm here doing this YouTube thing, Dan Povenmire is somewhere out there working on the new Phineas and Ferb, I'm pretty sure, because I think he left his newest show. I also haven't seen his newest shows, and I'm sure they're great. Again, please, please, please do not send those assassins. I don't want to be killed by a ninja. Holy shit. Okay, the point I'm trying to get to is that Dan Povenmire embraces and loves his work, and for good reason. He has a TikTok where he shares behind the scene footage, interacts with fans, celebrates Phineas and Ferb and his current shows, and just seems like a genuinely cool dude. He doesn't hide his biggest achievement or even try to milk it. He doesn't push it aside to shill his new thing or do a rug pull with a Perry coin. Also, major respect to the man. I don't think I would have the same amount of fucking patience if every single day people were yelling, "A platypus! Bury the platypus!" at me. I would fucking lose it.
At last! The Jelkinator! Ah yes, bury the platypus! Time to get jelked!
Dan Povenmire loves Phineas and Ferb. He loves the fans and he loves creating things. So it seems. I don't know. Maybe this is all a front to get some pussy. So yeah, this video is basically just a thank you for making a bunch of shit I love. I grew up with Phineas and Ferb because it was on right as I started to understand the world. It really shaped my humor and was part of the reason why I love animation so much. And finding out that he worked on all these other things that made me who I am was fucking mind-boggling. As a kid, I didn't really care for the music. I was more into the unconventional jokes and humor that I hadn't seen in any other shows before. But looking back, the music is insane. It's crazy there was a different song in every episode. Writing a bunch of funny little catchy songs for a show like this seems like a fucking dream job. Shout out to whoever got to do that for a living. Also, shout out to the ska theme song. Another thing, what the f was up with that? Why did every show have a ska theme song? I clearly don't know how to end this. I've never made a video like this before. Subscribe for weekly videos about literally anything at this point. Check out the clothing store, and thank you, Dan Povenmire, for your contributions to the world of art, and thank you for watching.